My name is Tabetha. This happened in Marty, South Dakota, and my family is victim of family court corruption and criminal court corruption.
You're rolling. Remember, my voice isn't heard. Tabitha, what's your relationship to the story?
Jesse Rouse is my dad, and the rest of them are my uncles.
You must be older than you look. How old were you when this happened?
When it happened, I was roughly 8.
So you're in your mid-20s now.
28.
You still get carded?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've got a 39-year-old daughter who still gets carded. You guys both have the same genes. What do you remember happening on the day that the sky fell in?
I remember lots of people pulling up. Basically, they just rounded up all us kids and put us into cars and took us away. They actually, I was picked up the second time they came. They just came and picked us up. They took us, when I went, we didn't go directly to, we went directly to the foster care. That's where I personally went, was directly to the foster care.
And what did they explain? What did they say to you? What did they explain to you?
They didn't explain anything. They just took us.
And what was the foster care family?
Oh, it was horrible.
Let me stop you. Say the foster care was horrible.
The foster care was horrible. It was all of us. They had upstairs, downstairs. They were mean. They were not very nice people at all.
How many children?
A lot. All of us. I was only at the first foster care for roughly a month, and then they actually moved me to a different foster home.
How many foster homes were you in?
2.
For how long?
Maybe a little over, maybe a month, maybe 2.
Just tell me what to ask. Now, why did they move you from one foster home to another?
I was in school and we were watching a movie that reminded me of my mom and my dad, so I got sent to the counselor's office, and I told the counselor what was going on, how we were being told what to say, and evidently the counselor took it to CPS or to the foster home, and they decided evidently I was a risk there, so they moved me.
So tell me more of what you told the people at the school, because I think that's important.
I basically told them that they were sitting us in rooms and telling us.
Start over and explain who them is.
The counselors?
Yeah.
Okay. The counselors at the school that I was at, I had told them how they were forcing us to say certain stuff. I basically refused to. When I got home from school that day, I basically was moved.
What were you being told to say?
Well, I refused to say it. I wouldn't say anything at all. They were telling us just basically if we wanted to go home, we had to say that certain stuff had happened.
And that certain stuff was sexual abuse?
Yes, sir.
And were they describing the sexual abuse actions?
I wouldn't cooperate, so they really wouldn't get into detail with me. I went above their head and took it to other counselors and took it to people that I thought would help me, so they moved me. I was only interviewed maybe twice by CPS.
Did you talk with the other children that were taken about what was happening with them, with the people talking to them?
When I was being interviewed?
Yeah, around that time. I mean, did all of you go back and compare notes? This is what they're wanting
No.
to say? No.
We were pretty well watched.
Okay. So, you know for a fact that prosecuting attorneys or whoever was representing the government was telling you to say
Yes.
things that weren't true?
I know for a fact that they were telling us things to say that was not true.
Now, you were in the house with everybody? That's where you
The
lived?
first foster home, or
When you were on Marty?
oh yes, it was. We all basically lived with my grandma in her house. It was my grandma Rosemary's house.
And so, give me a rundown on who all was there that you recall. Who all lived there?
Me, my mom, my dad Jesse, my brother Chris, my brother Moses, my sister Melanie. I don't remember if my Aunt Ursula lived there, because my Aunt Beta lived up the street also. So it was basically in between the two houses that we all lived and stayed.
A lot of people.
Yes.
And how easy was it to keep a secret in the house?
There was no secrets. Everybody knew everybody's business.
And just to make it very clear, look right straight in the camera and tell what didn't happen to you.
I was never assaulted. I was never touched. I was never anything. Nothing happened.
And how confident are you that nothing happened to any of the other?
100% confident.
Say that
100% nothing happened.
with anybody.
Anybody. Nothing happened to anybody.
Tell me about Garfield.
Garfield. Garfield, his uncle Garfield, all us kids used to pick on him. We were mean. Kids pick on people. And when we were growing up, it was just, everybody everybody was drinking all the time. And he would be drunk, passed out, and us kids we were not nice kids.
So, you're telling me you made fun of Uncle Garfield?
Yes.
How you guys painted him up?
Oh yeah, we were.
Put that cannon.
Yeah, we were. And I think about all the stuff we used to do when we were little, and it's like now it's like if I could take back everything that we ever did basically that we did was mean on the res, like I would take it all back. I would give anything to have everybody, just all of this erased, all of us together.
Do you imagine Uncle Garfield probably chuckles when he thinks of that?
Probably.
It's probably a good memory.
Yeah. We didn't do it because we did it because, that's what family does.
Funny.
We just joked around.
How has this affected you?
I grew up without my dad. My kids now grow up without their grandpa. Our family is torn apart. It's just a big mess.
And tell me about your brothers.
This is my little brother Christopher Rouse, and my older brother is behind me, Moses Rouse.
You probably can say better than they can how it's affected them.
It's tore us apart. We used to be a family, all of us, and we're missing a whole bunch of our family now. It's like a piece of the puzzle is gone.
Your dad is a very handsome man.
Oh, yes.
And was undoubtedly quite a leader. Do you think that's part of why this happened?
Yes.
You want to talk about that? Because my voice isn't heard, remember? Tell about your dad.
My dad's awesome. Whenever we were... Jesse's my stepdad, and still till this day, I consider him my dad more than I do my real dad. He's the one I remember growing up. He's the one that took me to school. He's the one I remember being there. I was just talking to my aunt about when we were little, and we used to go to this lake, and we would swim, and I didn't know how to swim. And I actually drowned, and my aunt saved me. It was just, I mean, he's awesome. And I want my dad back.
Did you ever box with him?
No.
Did the boys?
Yes. I was the little girl. I was the girl. I was the one that he always made sure nothing ever happened. And I want my family back.
Okay, you don't live in Marty anymore.
No.
Where do you live now?
I live in Omaha, Nebraska.
Do you miss Marty?
In ways. I miss my family. I have aunts, I have cousins that I see rarely. I see them whenever we have time to see each other.
And tell us, how many children do you have?
I have 3. I have my son Warren, he's 8. I have a 6-year-old daughter, her name's Marlene. And I just had a baby, she's 4 months old, and her name is Alexis.
And have your children seen their grandpa?
No. They talk to him, they've seen pictures, they know who he is. They know bits and my kids know what bits and pieces of what has happened, and they don't understand why it is this way, why they can't go see their grandpa, they can only talk to him over the phone.
Are you aware of what will happen when your dad gets out?
We'll be a family again.
But do you know what will happen with your children?
They'll have their grandpa.
According to the law, he won't be able to be around any of them until they're over 18.
According to the law, but if we get him out and all this is then, if we get him out and everything is said that nothing happened, then everything's in the past. Nothing happened. My kids don't deserve not to have their grandpa over some lies and people that are racist. And I mean, if my dad and my uncles really did all of this, how come whenever I was brought home, they were all still there? They brought me home to my Aunt Beta's house, and all my uncles were still there. My dad was there. I walked in and hugged my dad. If my dad and my uncles really did what they said they did, why would they put me in that position of actually dropping me off there?
Doesn't make sense, does it? Did you know that the guys were all offered a plea bargain to just do a very little bit of time?
No. But either way, a plea bargain, they didn't do anything. They did nothing. Why would you plea bargain down on something you didn't do?
That's why they stood firm and didn't do it. They could have long since been home, but they would have had to admit guilt.
I wouldn't have admitted guilt either. They didn't do anything. Why have something like that on your record forever?
Any last words from you?
I love you guys, and I'll see you soon.